Welcome back, everyone, to Speak More Fluently.
Great to be diving in again.
So have you ever had that feeling where, you're saying the English words correctly, technically, but something just feels a little, maybe unnatural?
Mm-hmm. Or you listen to two people, and one is just so much easier to follow.
Exactly. Well, today we're getting into something that's often behind that feeling. It's a subtle thing, but wow, it's powerful. We're talking about emphasis.
Right, how we stress parts of words and parts of sentences.
And stick with us, because getting this right, or at least understanding it better, can seriously boost your clarity and your confidence too, actually.
Absolutely. It makes a huge difference in how natural you sound. We'll give you some really practical techniques, stuff you could try out straight away.
Okay, so let's think about fluent English speakers. There's usually a kind of musicality, isn't there? A rhythm.
Yeah, there is. And it's not just the sounds of the letters, the pronunciation of vowels and consonants. It's also about which bits get a little more energy.
A bit more punch.
Exactly. Which syllables in a word or which words in a sentence kind of pop out. So we're focusing on two main things: word stress and sentence stress.
Okay, word stress. Like, take the word computer. We don't say computer.
Great.
It's computer. That middle bit gets the emphasis. Seems tiny, maybe.
It does seem tiny, but that emphasis carries, well, quite a bit of weight. It tells you which syllable is the most important in that word.
Got it. And then there's sentence stress, so that's not just within one word, but across the whole sentence.
Exactly. When we speak, we naturally, usually without thinking, emphasize the words that carry the main message. The nouns, the main verbs, adjectives, adverbs.
The content words.
The content words, loosely. And the other words, the little grammatical ones, the da-da-da-da-da. But they tend to get softened, reduced even.
Okay, so they take a back seat.
Right. And that highlighting and reducing is basically sentence stress doing its job.
So let's dig into why this matters so much. Word stress first. Why does it matter if I say banyana versus bienana?
Well, for someone who grew up speaking English, that stress syllable is like a beacon. In fast connected speech, hearing that stress syllable helps the listener lock on to the word itself.
So it helps with word recognition, like picking it out from the stream of sound.
Exactly. It's a major cue native listeners use, even subconsciously.
Okay, makes sense. It's like finding the beat in music helps you orient yourself. And for us learners, what's the payoff for really nailing the stress when we learn a new word, like important?
Two big things, really. First, when you consciously learn and practice the stress pattern, like knowing it's important, it actually helps embed that word in your memory more strongly.
Oh, interesting. So it helps the vocabulary stick.
It seems to, yeah. Creates a more robust mental representation. And second, getting the word stress right is absolutely fundamental to the rhythm and flow of English. It's a huge part of sounding natural.
Yeah, you can really hear it when the rhythm's off, can't you? Even if the grammar is perfect. Okay, now shifting to sentence stress. Highlighting those content words, softening the function words. How does that help get the meaning across clearly?
Sentence stress is basically your way of signposting the key information for your listener. Clarifies meaning instantly. Think about that simple sentence. I told him.
Okay.
If I really hit the verb, I told him, what might that imply?
Maybe. That you definitely did tell him. Perhaps someone doubts it. Or maybe someone else didn't tell him, but you did.
Exactly. Or maybe contrastive, I told him. I didn't just hint. Now, what if I say, I told him?
Okay. The focus is on the person. Maybe not her or them, but him specifically.
Precisely. And finally, I told him.
That emphasizes you. It was me who did the telling, not someone else.
Right. See how changing that one stressed word completely shifts the subtle meaning, the nuance.
Wow. Yeah. That's incredibly clear. So it's not just about sounding nice. It's fundamental to conveying the precise meaning you intend.
It really is. And from the listener's side, when you use sentence stress effectively, you make their job much easier. They naturally tune into those stressed words to get the gist, the main points.
Like a spotlight on the important stuff.
Exactly like a spotlight. It guides their comprehension.
Okay, so we see how crucial this is. But it's not always easy, right? What are some common hurdles learners face with stress?
Yeah, there are definitely common challenges. One big one is giving too much stress to those little function words we talked about. The A is to.
Why does that happen?
Often it's influence from a learner's first language. Some languages have a more syllable-timed rhythm, where each syllable gets roughly equal weight. English is stress-timed, meaning the rhythm is based on the stressed syllables, and the unstressed ones get squeezed in. Applying a syllable-timed pattern to English can make it sound a bit Staccato, maybe?
Yeah, like every word is getting equal billing, which isn't how English flows naturally.
Right. And tied to that is not using weak forms for function words. In relaxed connected speech, it often becomes Karen, for it becomes fam, and becomes ren. If you fully pronounce every single function word, it disrupts that natural rhythm.
Like saying, I went to the store for some bread, instead of I went tickthur, hum floor, bread.
Exactly that. It sounds unnatural. And another hurdle, especially at the beginning, is just hearing the stress patterns.
Perceiving it in the first place.
Yes. It takes practice to tune your ear not just to the words, but to the melody, the emphasis. It's a different layer of listening.
Okay, so we get the why and the what goes wrong. Let's move to the how. What practical things can learners actually do to internalize these patterns and start using them?
Okay, practical strategies. There's some really neat ones. One I like involves using your voice differently. Try humming the stressed syllable of a word.
Humming it.
Yeah, like for banana, you'd hum the second syllable a bit longer and maybe slightly higher pitch. Then say the word. Banana. It connects the physical sensation to the sound.
Huh, I like that. Kinesthetic learning, feeling the stress. Any other physical or visual tricks?
Definitely. Visually marking stress is super helpful. When you learn a new word, like photograph, you could draw a big circle over foo and small ones over to and graph, O-O-O.
Okay.
Or just use bolding or underlining in your notes. Photograph. Anything to make it visually obvious.
Make it jump out.
Right. And physically, gestures can help too. Maybe a closed fist for unstressed syllables and an open, emphatic hand for the stressed one, like fist, open hand, P-U, ter.
Right.
And for sentence stress, some teachers suggest drawing a sort of roof shape or arc over the sentence, with the peak hitting the main stress word. Helps visualize the focus.
Those sound like great ways to make it less abstract. What about exercises you can actually, do?
Yeah, so for sentence stress, try sorting words. Take a sentence, write each word on the card, sort them into two piles: content words, nouns, verbs, etc., and function words, articles, prepositions.
Okay, content, function.
Then rebuild the sentence, really focusing on giving energy only to the words in the content pile and saying the function words more quickly and softly.
That sounds like a really concrete way to practice that reduction in emphasis.
It is. Another classic is contrastive stress drills. Take a sentence like, she didn't steal the money.
Okay.
Say it multiple times, stressing a different word each time. She didn't steal the money. Someone else did. She didn't steal the money. Denial. She didn't steal the money. Maybe she borrowed it.
Yeah.
She didn't steal the money. Maybe some money, but not that specific money. She didn't steal the money. She stole something else.
And discussing how the meaning shifts each time, that really highlights the pragmatic impact.
Absolutely. It shows stress isn't just pronunciation, it's meaning making.
And how about training our ears, just listening more?
Active listening is key. Don't just listen for words, listen for the peaks, the stressed syllables and words. Use short audio or video clips. News, TED Talks, podcasts. Pause, repeat. Try to identify where the main stress falls in a phrase or sentence. Then try to mimic it.
Mimicking is important.
Very. And related to ear training are those minimal pair stress games. Words like are, chord, noun versus record, verb, or content versus content.
Ah, yeah, where the stress changes the word type or meaning.
Exactly. Have someone say them or use an app, and you identify which one you heard based purely on the stress pattern. Sharpens your perception like crazy.
These are fantastic, really practical tips. How can technology lend a hand here?
Oh, technology is great for this. Many online dictionaries now have audio pronunciations, often showing the stressed syllable visually, too, like with an apostrophe mark.
Right, in the phonetic transcription.
Yeah. And there are dedicated pronunciation apps, lots of them, with specific modules and exercises on word and sentence stress. They often give feedback, too.
Interactive practice.
Yes. And don't underestimate the power of your smartphone. Record yourself. Read a paragraph. Do one of those contrastive stress drills, then listen back critically. Where does your stress naturally fall? Does it sound like the patterns you're hearing from native speakers?
That self-correction loop is so valuable, even if hearing your own voice can be a bit,
A bit jarring at first.
Yeah.
But you get used to it, and it's incredibly insightful.
Okay, so for people studying on their own, how can they weave this into their routine?
Shadowing is a brilliant technique. Listen to a short phrase or sentence, maybe from this deep dive. Pause, and immediately repeat it, trying to copy the rhythm, stress, and intonation as closely as possible.
Like being an echo.
Exactly. It trains your mouth and your ear simultaneously. Another simple habit. Whenever you learn new vocabulary, don't just write the word and definition. Mark the stress pattern before you even practice saying it. Make it part of the learning process.
Proactive learning.
And if possible, get feedback. If you have language partners or join conversation groups, specifically ask them to listen for your stress and rhythm, record short dialogues, exchange them, and comment.
Peer feedback can be golden. Any quick thoughts for remote learners, maybe using digital tools or just general self-study adaptation?
Well, a lot of these adapt well. If you're using a digital whiteboard or note-taking app, you can easily use colors or bolding to mark stress visually.
True.
Those contrastive stress drills. Perfect for recording yourself and comparing different versions. No teacher needed, just your own ears and the recording tool.
Self-analysis.
And you can find tons of great short video tutorials online demonstrating things like the humming technique or the hand gestures. Easy to watch and practice along at home.
So wrapping things up, it seems pretty clear that word and sentence stress aren't just minor pronunciation details, are they?
Not at all. They are absolutely fundamental to being understood clearly, to sounding natural, and just, well, communicating effectively in English.
It's about making your message land the way you intend it to.
Precisely. Becoming aware of stress, practicing these techniques, it really elevates your spoken English. It helps your listener focus on what matters.
So a final thought for everyone listening. Think about how playing with emphasis, consciously deciding where to put that stress in your sentences could change things. It's not just about clear pronunciation. It might subtly shift how your message is received, what impact it has. What new layers of meaning could you add to your English just by being more mindful of stress? Something to explore.